Hello there and welcome to Tom's Warhammer Minis. Formed instantaneously from molten metal, the Magmic Battleforge is a reflection of godly power, a manifestation of Grimnir's fury fused with the white-hot fires of Volcatrix. It is a fantastic model, simple to paint, and yet it boasts complex, exquisite detail. Now, whether it's for a Fyreslayer army, tabletop scenery, or an altogether different project, it is an awesome model. In this guide, I'll be using contrast paints and metallics to quickly paint this up in an incredible time. Realistically, we're looking just over half a day to get it done from start to finish, obviously primed and built. So grab your paints, grab your brushes, let's get started with our Magmic Battleforge. This is AOS scenery for the Fyreslayers. It's brilliant, it's chunky, it's awesome, and it's just a real good fun job. It's going to be an absolute joy to paint. To begin with, things to note, it's fully assembled. There's no sub-assemblies whatsoever. It is primed in white scar. I want that real bright, vivid finish. Now to begin with, we're going to start with our whole host of colours. There's a lot of metallics to do. We'll cover that towards the end of getting it battle ready. Let's focus on all the contrast colours first. So to begin with, we're going to need a palette to mix a couple of paints together. We're going to take Black Legion. And we're going to take Stormfiend, and we're going to mix this together in a 1-to-1 ratio. This is going to be for all the black blue details you see on the model. Now, the blue is going to be very subtle, in the sense I've gone with Black Legion because I want the thickness of the paint, and I'll explain that in a second. The blue gives that black a slight richer undertone. Now, when we apply it, obviously normally with contrast paints you want to apply them thinly and evenly. I'm going to break the rule. And what I've done here is I've applied it rather thickly. It's to get this solid coat that you see. And this is just one coat of that mix. Now, when it gets the edges around here, it is going to pull away ever so slightly, giving you that natural highlight. We are going to highlight it more later on. But this is the effect we're looking for. And I've just applied this here just to show you just before filming. This is it wet, obviously drying. This is the thickness we want. And this is how it ends up. Moving on from that, we're going to go to our brickwork. The brickwork on the box art is grey. Now, I have applied this a bit heavily too, and we'll explain that in a minute. It is deliberate. But the mix we're going to create here is Ratling Grime, and I've taken 2 parts of Ratling Grime to 1 part of Lahmium Medium. Now, the reason for this is I want it to have a slight thinness, rather than it being too heavy and too dark. But at the same time, I don't want it too thin in the sense that I could have thinned it 1-to-1 and then every brick would have been absolutely spot on perfect. I personally want this bit of pooling that just randomly happens. It's a furnace. There is heat pumping up through here. The brickwork's not going to be completely clean. This is how I want it. But if you want the bricks clean, I would add more Lahmium Medium in a 1-to-1 star ratio. But this is for all those grey details that we see at the back. Moving on from that, you've got the pump here. Nice and simple. Base coat in Skeleton Horde. And lastly, you've got this bit of cloth here. It's in red. Again, following the box art. And I've used Flesh Tear as red. Get those done. And when they're dry, we're going to shade all of those details. Next up, we're shading those details. Now, shading is rather effective when it comes to contrast painting. I've talked about this in other videos. We'll talk about it here. Essentially, it's going to do 2 things. Firstly, it enriches a contrast paint, gives it more definition, more saturation, and just helps to further detail the recesses, pulling away from the edges. It just has real good effects. It's vital. But secondly, when you think of varnishing, and people do use Lahmium Medium, for instance, to seal down a transfer, it's putting a coat over it that protects it ever so slightly. Now, a shade paint has the properties of Lahmium Medium, and if that seals things down and protects it, the same fact is here, it will prevent some, not all, chipping. I'm not giving out there it's 100% guarantee, but in little corners like this on scenery that has no base, and obviously you can attach a base to it if you want to, but it doesn't come with one, when you keep picking it up, bits of paint are going to chip away and rub off. It's inevitable. But it's not 100% guarantee, it does protect things over time. So let's talk about the shades that we're using. For all of those black details, we're going to enrich it further with Drakenhof Nightshade. It's dark, it's blue, it works well with what we've done there. For all of our Ratling Grime details and the red, I've taken Nuln Oil, and for the Skeleton Horde, I've enriched it a little bit further with Seraphim Sepia. Nice and simple, get those done, let them dry, and we'll move on to the next stage. Next up, we're doing all our flame and smoke details. Nice and simple, we're going to take Iyanden Yellow and we're using Black Templar. Then we're going to do a shade that goes all over to combine it together. Starting with Iyanden Yellow. You've got the two pyres, nice and simple. We are painting it down to there. Ignore that it's black in between now, we'll explain that in a second. But where there's all flame and coals, paint it in Iyanden Yellow. You've got the main fireplace, which we've also done in Iyanden Yellow. Again, forget the coals for the second, paint it all over. You've got the inside of the wall, which we did in Ratling Grime. We're also adding Iyanden Yellow, again in its purest form, not thinned down, straight over all of that surface. It gives a slight yellowish tint, as if the heat of the flames is reflecting. It's just a really cool way of doing it. Nice and simple. I've done the same in the eyes too. The smoke is where we get different. We're going to paint it all in Iyanden Yellow, both sides. And while it's completely wet and it hasn't dried, I've taken Black Templar, painted it straight on top. And you're just going to mix the two colours as they're wet, blending it together to create this kind of effect. We don't want to go too heavy on the Black Templar, otherwise it spoils the details. But you want to get it to this consistency. It's not thinned down. Just move it together till you're happy and you get this effect. It just shows the smoke is hot, it's burning, and it's obviously all connected together. Then with the Black Templar, you've got all the little coals. So you've got coals on each of these pyres all the way around. You've got the main coals in the furnace, and we're just picking it each one out. But this is done once the Iyanden Yellow is dry. And the Iyanden Yellow just shows slightly through it, just giving that idea it's hot, it's burning. Once it's all dried, and this includes the smoke, I've taken Fuegan Orange shade and just painted it over all the coals, all the fire, all the smoke. Just ties those colours together nicely. Next up, we're going to base coat all of our gold details, and the colour I'm using here is Retributor Armour. There is a lot to do. I mean, when you look at the box art, there's a lot anyway, but when you start painting it, you realise, blimey, it's going to take a long time, and it does take a long time. We're looking at a good hour, maybe a bit more here. Now, this front area, you're going to need two base coats, and I'm switching to a standard size base brush just to get this all done. But because you've got large flat surface areas, two thin coats will get this solid colour that we need. The rest of it, we can get away with just one coat, and there is just a lot to do. Small airbrush for these kind of areas, just take your time, get it done, be neat. There's not really much to it, just patience. Take breaks if you need it. Now, it's not the end of the gold details, we have got one more gold paint to do, and I'm going to relayer this area here. We'll talk about that in the next stage. But for now, we just want the solid Retributor Armour all in. And next up, we're going to finish off base coating our metallics. Now, we've got a slight subtle change to the front of the gold. This is this large flat section that goes down here and down this side, as well as the other side. The colour we're using here is Liberator Gold, and I find this to be a bit of an odd layer paint. You cannot, in my opinion, base coat it. I've seen it done, I've tried it, it doesn't work. However, having the Retributor Armour as the base, putting this over the top, you get this perfect smooth layer. And obviously, on a smooth area like this, you want it to be smooth. Essentially, we're just shifting the slight gradient of gold to this just to match the box art. It's nice and simple. And having that Retributor Armour in place just makes it work nicely. You only need one coat of that. Then, for our remaining details, we're going to the back. We've got two colours here. Balthazar Gold, that's for the two tanks here, as well as all these little sections here that join to the walls. Nice and simple. You're going to need two base coats, especially over these two areas. They're large flat surface areas. Apply it too thickly, it's going to look horrible. Two thin coats is what you need. For our silver details, you're going to need the same two coats, especially on this section here, this section here. The colour I'm using here is Leadbelcher. It's that cross between dark and bright, and it's absolutely perfect for what we need. So you've got this section here, all the pipes and stuff, and then these two foundry bits here. Nice and simple. Wait for it to dry, and then we can shade our metallic details. Next up, we're going to shade our metallic details. We're going to start the silver, because that's really easy. Simply, over all of our Leadbelcher details, we're taking Drakenhof Nightshade and shading it. There's nothing really to it in that sense. Just take your time. Obviously, in a big vertical pole, check it's not pooling, etc. Now for our gold, and this is where it gets not complicated, but there are different things we're doing with one paint. So to begin with, let's talk about the mix. I am taking Gore Grunta Fur and I've thinned this down to roughly 5 to 6 parts of Lahmium Medium, essentially turning it into a glaze and a shade at the same time. But it's a dark paint and it works really beautifully on gold and bronze. So let's start classic at the back. Of all these details you're seeing here, this includes our Balthazar Gold and our Retributor Armour. We're just shading it straight on. That's kind of mimicking the box art. Where we differ is where we get to this kind of section. All these runes we're not going to worry about, apart from little studs and stuff. But for this section here, we don't want to put it on a flat surface. The flat surface is the end result colour. What we're going to do is recess shading. For those who don't know what recess shading is, simply I'm taking a shade paint, I'm painting, for example, into this recess here, drawing the brush all the way down, and that's it. We're not doing on this section here, not doing on that section there. It's just to create shadow and that, you know, dimensional depth of the model. It means we haven't got to relayer. If you were to do it all over, you'd have to relayer it. So it takes time to get it all in place, but it saves time because you're then not ruining the artwork and all the job that we've done, and you haven't got to relayer it. So nice and simple, take your time, get that done, and when it's complete, our model is battle ready. It looks fantastic. For games, stick it straight on the tabletop, you're done. But I'm not done. We're going to add some highlights and finish off the model. Nice and simple. And it's time to apply our highlights. I've only done 4 here because most of it's already in place, especially the contrast painting. There's only a few things to pick up, and it's all going to be dry brushing, so it's going to be really nice and simple, starting with our black details. There's just these little edges here around both sides. Fenrisian Grey. Just take a small dry brush and apply that on. For the coals in here, as well as our grey walls, I've taken a dry brush of Screaming Skull. Just gently picks them out. I'm not going for every single edge highlight, you know, between the bricks. That's down to you if you want to do that. Obviously, you don't have to do it by hand, but I'm using this for something else, which means I don't have to worry. For the red, I've just done a very simple dry brush of Fire Dragon Bright, and then for all of our silver, all of our gold, all of our bronze, this is all the metallic details, I've taken Stormhost Silver and just done an overall dry brush with it. Ties all the colours together, shows the metallic sort of quality underneath, and just makes everything bright, vivid, and just absolutely glorious. So take your time, get that done. It shouldn't take too long, and the model is complete. And there we have it. The Magmic Battleforge is complete, and for what it is, it's just beautifully simple and equally elegant and complex in detail. Essentially, what I mean is, it's just a great model and an absolute joy to paint. Now, if this video has taught inspired, then be sure to give it a like. Share so others can discover it and my channel too. And if you're new, please do subscribe. That all importantly and completely free action of yours helps the channel to grow. And more importantly, it means I get to continue doing this, making free content to support you, the awesome Warhammer community. So, until next time, do look after yourselves and happy hobbying.